Hi everybody, this is Shawna Odette from the Flying Cat Academy. Welcome to lesson number 74. In this lesson, we will teach the student what happens when we add a suffix that begins with a consonant to a VCE word. Let's begin by setting up the table. You'll need your top 160 sight word list, the sight word study method instruction sheet, the student's sight word card pack, some blank index cards, a highlighter markers, and some pencils. The short vowel drill is no longer on the table. You'll need the phonemic awareness drill instruction sheet and the colored tiles. You'll need the visual drill and auditory drill instruction sheets and the card pack. Then you'll have to have the syllable card drill cut out and ready to go on the table. We're working on 3-syllable words today. And remember that you can adapt this if you feel like your student's not ready to have things completely scrambled. You don't have to. You could have 2 of the columns unscrambled and they're just unscrambling the third maybe. For the magnetic letter tile drill for reading and spelling, you'll need the cookie sheet with the letters spread in a rainbow shape. Then you'll have the syllable pounding instruction sheet, the new phoneme grapheme kinesthetic discovery sheet, and the sheets for the lesson, which include the single word list, a worksheet on adding suffixes to VCE words, the single word list, the short story, and the 3 sentences for the writing part of the lesson. We'll have a drill where we're working on the 2-1-1 rule as well, and you'll have to have that ready on the table. Then you might have a timer as well if you've introduced a fluency element to the lessons. You'll have to do this by adding a secondary program, such as Read Naturally or the 6-minute reading solution. Let's work on our sight words. Student, I'd like you to take out your sight word card pack, and I'd like you to read through all of the cards in your pack. When you read a card correctly, you'll put a check mark in the corner of the card. After you're finished reading all of the cards, give the card pack to your teacher, and then it's your teacher's turn to read. Your teacher will read each one, and you will write them down. When you write a word correctly, you put a check mark in the other corner of the card. So there's check marks here and here. Teacher, you're ready with blocking strategies in case the student encounters difficulties. When you're finished, you guys can have a quick discussion about which of those words has been mastered. The mastered ones will be taken out of the card pack. You don't need to work on those anymore. And that leaves space so that if there's time, you can introduce a new sight word. It's time for the phonemic awareness drill. Student, you're going to need your colored tiles for this one. Your sound is F. Can you repeat that sound? Now take out a tile and call it F. The next sound is Can you repeat that sound? Take out a tile and place it right after the F. Your next sound is N. Can you repeat that sound? Now take out a tile and place it. Now tap it and say it, all 3. And what's your word? Did you say fun? If you did, that's right. Now change the N into a M. What's your new word? Tap it and say it. Did you say fum? I don't know if it's a real word, but I know it in fee, fi, fo, fum. Okay, find the in fum. Change it to a U. And what's your new word? Tap it and say it. Did you say fume? The fume smelled terrible. Okay, take a new color, new tile, and call it ol. Put the ol right after the f in fume. And what's your new word? Tap it and say it. Did you get flume? If you did, that's right. Now change the f in flume into a p. What's your new word? Tap it and say it. Did you say plume? If I have a feather in my hat, I might call it a plume. Okay, now change that oo sound in plume to What's your new word? Tap it and say it. Did you say plum? I might eat a plum. If you did, that's correct. Okay, great work. You can put your tiles away. Do the visual drill. Student, you're going to need your card pack for this one. The teacher has the pack and flashes the card at the student. What are the sounds of this one? Do you know all four? Say them now. And then we check. Did you say id, ed, d, and t? If you did, those are the four sounds. Okay, and teacher, you can flash about 6 to 8 flashcards. Now let's do the auditory drill. We'll use the same card pack that we used in the visual drill. Student, your sound is E. Can you repeat that sound? Now, how many ways do you know to write E? As you write them down, say that sound again, and then underline it when you're finished and say them both again. Say the sound again, sorry. Okay, did you write down that this is one symbol for E? And I wonder if you also remembered that Y can make the sound E at the end of a 2-syllable word like baby, tiny, lady. Y is making that E sound. Okay, teacher, you can do about 6 to 8 flashcards in this way. It's time for the syllable card drill. This one's already on the table for you. You'll read down all the syllables in column number 1, and then all the middle column, and all the ones in the final column on the right, and then you'll read across making nonsense words as you go. Finally, it's time to unscramble things. And these are 3-syllable words, so it's going to be a big challenge today. Do some pounding of syllables. I'll say a word, and then you repeat it. So your word is impolite. Can you repeat that word? Now I'd like to know how many syllables are in the word impolite. He was impolite because he was saying rude words. So if I want to know how many syllables, you'll put your hand under your chin and say the word impolite, and the chin will drop and hit your hand for each syllable. Or you could put out your arm and just pound it out this way when you say the word. So how many syllables do you hear? Let's see. Impolite. I get 3. Okay, here's next one. Ite. How many syllables? I just hear the I sound there, so I would say 1. How about this? Contem. How many in that? Not a word on its own, but part of a word. I hear 2. I hear the ah in con and the eh in tem. Here's a big word. Contemplate. How many in that? I hear 3 in that one. Okay, what I'd like you to do is pull out your Scooping Syllables worksheet, and your teacher will let you know how many words you have time to work on. And teacher, encourage the student to talk through the thinking as this is happening. Last lesson, we did a review of the 2-1-1 rule. What happens in a multi-syllable word when the second syllable, the final syllable, is a closed syllable and it bumps up against a suffix that starts with a vowel? Teacher, in your lesson plan, I've got some questions that you can ask the student as guiding questions. And there is a drill that's all set up on the table ready to go. The student, you'll see the words are unscrambled, students, so you can just read straight across them. Talk it out as you're doing it. So think in that first one, the PI, what type of syllable is that? How does that affect how you read that PI syllable? And then LOT, how would you read that one? And then remember, you have to call the word to dinner to figure out which of those 2 syllables is stressed. Is it the pie or the lot? And if it's the lot, then you'll have to apply the doubling rule. If it's pie, then you don't have to worry about it because that's the important part of the word, not the closed syllable. So you just slam on the ending in that case. We've been talking about adding suffixes to the VCE syllable type. Student, how do you read this word? Tap it and say it. Did you say that word is like? I like you. If you did, that's right. Now, we've been talking about endings. So if I want to turn like into liking, he is liking that piece of pie, then how do I do it? What is the rule for adding a suffix that begins with a vowel to a VCE syllable type? What do I do? Tell your teacher now. Well, in this syllable type, the rule is drop the E and add the ending. So let's do that together. We're going to drop the E and add the ending. So do the hand gestures because that'll help you remember. And teacher, if you want to build this with letter tiles for the students so they can actually physically move it, that would be terrific. If not, we'll just do it together. So if I want to turn like into liking, I'm going to drop the E and add the ending. In today's lesson, we're going to talk about what happens when we have a VCE word like, and we add an ending that's different. It doesn't start with a vowel. It will start with a consonant. So I'll just pick one here. Let's do N-E-S-S. Okay, so here's my suffix. And it looks like a nice close syllable. So can you tap and say that one? What is that one? That one's ness. So if I want to add like and ness together, I'll end up with likeness. He drew a picture of me and it was a good likeness. Remember the reason that we have these spelling rules that exist between the base and the suffix. The spelling rules exist to stop confusion. And usually the confusion is because we don't want to have the vowels in the base hitting up against or too close to the vowels in the suffix because it might create confusion when you're trying to read things. In this case, there's no confusion because we've got a consonant there. So when we start a word, when we have a base and we start the suffix with a consonant, we simply slam it on. So with likeness, we actually keep the E. Let's review this idea by doing the worksheet that's provided. So teacher, can you take out that worksheet and you can have the student work through as many word sums as needed. Let's do the magnetic letter tile drill for reading. Student, you're going to need your cookie sheet with the letters spread in a rainbow shape for this one. Can you say Now find the correct tile and pull it to the middle. Can you say O? Find the correct tile and pull it to the middle. Can you say P? Find the correct tile and pull it to the middle. Now tap it and say it. Make any changes that you need to make or additions. Did you say that this word was rope? I took out the rope and made a lasso. And did you spell it R-O-P-E? If you did, that's correct. Now I would like to turn rope into roped. He roped the cattle, so he did it in the past. So I need to add a suffix. Can you take out the correct tiles if I want to turn rope into roped? And then apply the spelling rule. And how would you spell roped? Did you spell it R-O-P-E-D? Did you drop the E and add the ending? If you did, that's right. And we say roped, and you hear it as a T, but you have to know it's really that ED that's making that sound. That's the suffix. Okay, put your tiles back and let's try a new word. All right. Your sound is T. Can you repeat that sound? Can you say A? Now find the correct tiles and pull them to middle. Can you say S? Find the correct tile and pull it to the middle. Can you say T? Find the correct tile and pull it to the middle. Now tap it and say it. Make any changes or additions that need to get made. And what's your word? Did you say taste? If you did, that's correct. Now I'd like you to turn taste into tasting. Add the correct tiles and make any changes that you need to make. Did you spell this one T-A-S-T-I-N-G? If you did, that's right. We dropped the E and added the ending. Now take away the ing and put the E back so you have T-A-S-T-E again for taste. And I would like you to spell tasteless. Okay. Did you spell it Tasteless? If you did, that's right. We don't drop the E when we add a suffix that begins with a consonant. Okay, it's time to read your single word list and then your short story. And then if your teacher has added a fluency element, that's where you'll do it. Let's do the magnetic letter tile drill for spelling. Your word is timed. Can you repeat that word? I might say, I timed the race. So you'll need to get your magnetic letter tiles and think about what's the first sound that you hear in timed. Find the correct tile and pull it to the middle. What's the next sound that you hear in timed? Find the correct tile and pull it to the middle. What's the next sound that you hear in timed? Find the correct tile and pull it to the middle. And what's the next sound that you hear in timed? Find the correct tiles and pull them to the middle. Now tap it and say it. Did you spell this one Timed? If you did, that's right. We had the word time, Time, and we dropped the E and added the ending ed. Now, can you take away the ed and then put the e back so we're left with just time, Time? Okay, and I would like you to change this into timeless. The watch was a classic. It was timeless. That would be bad if a watch was timeless. Okay, so how would you spell that one? Timeless. Okay, did you spell it Timeless? If you did, that's right. Okay, how about this one? Take away the less, so you're just left with time. We're going to add a different suffix. We're going to add the suffix ly. So time plus ly. So it'll be time. It's a timely announcement because I really needed to hear it. Time is what you have down already, and you're going to add the suffix ly. So what's the first sound that you hear in ly? Find the correct tile and pull it to the middle. And what's the next sound that you hear in ly? Find the correct tile and pull it to the middle. Tap and say it. Did you write down Timely? If you did, that's right. Okay, teacher, you can do some more words in this way if you have time. And if not, then student, grab your line paper and a pencil, and we're going to write some single words. Your word is note. Can you repeat that word? I might say, I wrote a note to you. Okay, tap out the word note. And say it. Say the whole word, and then write it down. All right, did you spell note? N-O-T-E? If you did, that's right. Now change, or you can write the whole thing again. I'd like noted to be the new word. He noted that fact. So how would you do that one? Did you spell it N-O-T-E-D? Did you drop the E on the base and then add the ending ed? If you did, that's right. Okay, let's try a new word. Home. Can you repeat that word? I want to go home. Now tap it, say the whole word, and write it down. Did you spell this one H-O-M-E? If you did, that's right. Now I'd like you to write homing. It was a homing pigeon, homing. Tap it, say the whole word, write it down. Did you spell it H-O-M-I-N-G? If you did, that's right. Now try this one, homeless. The unfortunate man was homeless, homeless. So tap out the base, tap out the suffix, write them down. Did you spell this one H-O-M-E-L-E-S-S? If you did, that's right. Great work. It's time to write some sentences now. So teacher, you can read all 3 sentences to the student. Student, you'll choose the 2 that you would like to write. After you write a sentence, make sure that you check your work with CHOPS. Let's do a quick review before you go. We've been talking about vowel, consonant, silent E words and how to add suffixes. So if I have a word like this one here, can you read that word? That word says bike, and I would like to add the suffix ing. So you ask yourself, does this suffix start with a vowel? And if it does, ding, 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 that means a spelling rule is going to kick in. We're going to have a spelling rule here. So what's the rule? How do we turn bike into biking? Ready? Let's do it. Drop the E and add the ending. Okay, let's go back to bike. And here's a sad situation. If someone, let's say they lost their bike, oh no, they would be bikeless. Here's a suffix that begins with a consonant. Student, can you tell your teacher the rule? How would we turn bike into bikeless? Well, the rule here is that we just slam it on. So see how the E stays there? All right, great job today. This is Shawna Odette from the Flying Cat Academy.